Hello world, it's Berto Pray 5, Qapla. Now this is not my live stream for the day. I will live stream later this evening, probably from Space Engineers. So we can see some of the battle, hopefully this evening. But I missed yesterday's streaming, and I felt bad waiting until late this afternoon before I'd stream, so I figured I might as well stream now after Anti-Trekker and just say hello to everyone and let you know what was going on and what I was planning for today. Resolute Germ says, hi, Bird. Welcome, Resolute Germ. Let's see if I click this. Does it come up? Or yes, it does come in front. Very cool. Hello, Resolute Germ. John Meyer says, hi. Hello, John. 47 Yorktown says, hi, Mr. Bird. Qapla. Multi-Gunman says first. Well, you're like fourth by my count, Multi-Gunman, but it's close enough. Cinnabon Bunny says hi. Qapla, Cinnabon Bunny. Multi-Gunman says, hey, Bird, how's it going? Going pretty good, Multi-Gunman. Yesterday had family over. That's why I missed streaming. It was good to see some of the family I haven't seen in a while. And yeah, it was a good time. It went later than I thought it would, and by the time we were done, I was just so exhausted. I actually went to sleep the earliest I've gone to sleep in months yesterday, and that's probably why I woke up at like 4:15 a.m. this morning. But it is what it is. It was a good time, so. Unfortunately, the SOB Martin took a little damage in Space Engineers overnight, apparently. So I spent my morning repairing it. But that's about it. So we're back to where I was a day ago on Space Engineers. Mike Richards says, greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Greetings, Mike Richards. Life with Matthew says, Qapla, Berto Pray 5, Qapla, Life with Matthew. Mulligan says, live long, Karoga, death to Turtistan. Yes. Yes, now Shronmore did a video on his alternate channel, which is Mountains of Elysium. And I'm gonna share the link to the video. He did a 1-minute video on a travel guide for any Kurogans heading to Turtistan. Are you up here? Mamo Pray? I guess Mamo Pray is not up here, which is good because I hear the garage door opening. I was worried. Okay. Oh, yes, it's Mamo Pray. He just went down to the garage because it's pouring here, and I guess she has to. Unfortunately, it comes onto her shoulders to sweep some of the leaves away from the drain so the garage doesn't flood. But she's in a sheltered position. She's in the garage. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Usually I have a pretty good idea where Mamo Pray is at any given time, and I thought she was up here, but nope, she was downstairs. And greetings, Shronmore. I was just telling people about your video. In fact, I put out the link a minute ago to your video, and I was going to go show people the video now, if you do not mind. So let's see. We'll share a screen. Yes, we'll share a screen. Chrome tab. This is Turtistan Travel Log number 1. And we're going to replay it. It's a short video. Now, you guys should all subscribe to the link I gave you to Mountains of Elysium. This is Shronmore's other channel. He's got his nice little intro here. Okay, here it is.
evil it is.
It's the domain of evil.
And you must go. Not like Kuroga. Keep an eye on your wallet. You must steal things from your kid. They would.
Yep, you got to keep an eye on your wallet, and they'll steal things from your kids. Those damn Turdistanis. It's not like Kuroga. Not like Kuroga, indeed. Okay, hopefully that's displayed okay. Or if it didn't display, well, I'm still learning. Okay, so where did we stop? With Multi-Gun Man. And Multi-Gun Man says, you missed live streaming yesterday. Unforgivable. I'm unsubbing. I'm making up for it right now, Multi-Gun Man. Live with Matthew says, is the new on-screen chat format part of Streamlabs? No, it's StreamYards. It's a web-based YouTube. Well, actually, you can live stream to a bunch of places. I'm actually simultaneously streaming to both YouTube and the Bird of Prey 5 Facebook page. And there's other destinations too. It's not free. I mean, there is a free version, but then you get their logo on everything. I'm using a 1-month subscription just to test it out. Basically, it's replaced Google Hangouts. So like if you want to have a bunch of people on your stream, it's not as easy to do in Streamlabs or XSplit, which I use. So this is supposedly the new way of doing it. It does pretty good when you have multiple people on. But for a single person, listen, it's a lot easier to get this started and to fire up XSplit and set everything on and turn on the fish tank and do everything I do to get started. This I can really start streaming in like 2 minutes as opposed to 10. But it's not the end of the world. Just playing with it. Plus, it's got this nice thing where you can put chats on the screen, and you can invite people, and you can share the screen and do some other stuff. Sci-Fi Nation says Bird of Prey 5 Alpaca. And then I put up the YouTube link for Shronmore's second channel. And Shronmore says, greetings, Birdo Prey 5, Mamo Prey 5, and fellow nerds. Greetings, Shronmore, though Mamo Prey 5 is still sweeping some leaves away. Hector is in the house, says, hola, paracos. Hola, Hector. Shronmore says, and greetings to Sassy, chaser of cats, eater of cookies, stalker of cardinals, defiler of cushions, and scourge of the squirrels. Yes, indeed. In fact, let's see. Some of you might have seen this picture. I put this picture on YouTube. I put this picture on YouTube yesterday. Share screen. Okay, I don't need to see the tips every time. Chrome tab. That looks like it. There we go. Yeah, I put this picture on what I did yesterday was because I couldn't stream like 8 o'clock at night. I posted a post to the YouTube community on my YouTube community page. I don't know if anybody gets notifications about that or not. But I posted the picture of Sassy. I took it yesterday. She was quite happy once everybody started leaving and she got to get her bed back. She was not so happy to be without her bed, which doubles as the couch for the living room when we had company over. So yeah, there's Sassy. Okay. Back to the chat. Multi-Gunman says, Mama Prey is taking the shuttlecraft Jeep for a test flight. I wish. I wish. Sean Moore says, thanks for the pray. No, thank you, Sean Moore. Sci-Fi Nation says, subbed. Very cool. I assume to Elysium, Mountains of Elysium. Actor says, Karoga, Kurdistan border. You mean Alpacan territory? Well, I think there's some places where the Karoga and Kurdistan border meet up without the alpacans in the middle. It's towards the edge of the map. Shromore says, my impression of Yoda is pretty bad. Actually, Shromore, I thought it was pretty damn spot on. I honestly didn't even realize it wasn't Yoda until he said Karoga. T-Berg Sci-Fi fan says, the Alpacan Underground Parts Network is booming. I heard some rumors that T-Berg is selling surplus parts for cheap in Space Engineers. Particularly thrusters and gyroscopes. That's just what I hear. Actor says, and since Karoga lost its planet, they also lost their territory to the Alpacan. Oh, wow. That's technically now the Karogan safe zone is an Alpacan target. It can be since it is in space. So I suppose that's true. I do suppose that's true. I didn't even think about that. Mr. Londell's Groovy Movie says, Heidi ho, Mr. Londell. I can't do the Heidi ho voice. I think I can, but every time I try, I can't. T-Berg Sci-Fi fan says, thank you for your assistance this morning, Bird of Prey. Long live the Dean Martin. Oh, thank you, T-Berg. You're welcome. John Araki says, $2 from John Araki Super Chat. Can't stay, work, long live Karoga and lesbian Dax. Thank you so much, John Araki. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Well, since you can't stay, I guess I don't have to show lesbian Dax, although for the other people, Now, unfortunately, I don't have Streamlabs able to show lesbian Dax, but I can get it if I still have it. Yes, I do. I have it saved on a YouTube. So let's see. I will cut the audio and share screen, Chrome tab, rejoined. Rejoined was the name of the episode. And speaking of Deep Space Nine, Ensign Ricky, who everybody I would hope is subscribed to or should subscribe to, Ensign Ricky, I believe he is definitely a certified nerd on antitrekker.com. If you're not sure, the URL to his channel, he put out an amazingly long 2-hour video this morning, I believe, or late last night, that was his tribute to Aaron Eisenberg. And it opens up with some good info on Aaron Eisenberg. And then he goes into 2 hours into minute details about everything and the people involved in the episode where Nog decides he wants to join Starfleet, and he talks to Commander Sisko. He does a full review of that episode. He goes into all the details about everybody who worked on that episode. I mean, honestly, personally, gets into so much detail. I wrote in the comment that I thought it was just too much detail, to be honest. But it is an amazing video, regardless of the detail he gets into. It is a great, great breakdown of that episode. And frankly, if you're a DS9 fan, it's great to just watch and listen to. Ensign Ricky does a lot of great videos. Now, I'm guessing he was working on this video for a long time because he hasn't put out one in a while. And obviously, it's been a while since Aaron Eisenberg passed. I suspect he usually, because Ensign Ricky has tremendous production value on his videos. So I think he usually says it takes a week or 2 weeks to get one of his video out. I bet this one took him a month because it was just so long. But check out Ensign Ricky for sure. Great videos. And this was an excellent tribute to Aaron Eisenberg. And he was also a patron subscriber to the podcast that Aaron Eisenberg and I forget his first name, but Shirok, the actor who played Jake Sisko. So basically, Jake and Nog were doing a podcast for some time, talking about their memories of Deep Space Nine and their lives and things like that. And as a patron, Ensign Ricky got personal time to personally talk with Aaron Eisenberg and the other people involved in the show. So he had some real insights. So just really cool video I caught this morning. Multi-Gunman says, Sci-Fi Nation, thank you, sir. You'll like Bird of Prey 5's YouTube channel. Oh, Sci-Fi Nation is not new. He's just, excuse me, it's Jason. It's Jason with Jason Link. But Jason with a new name because he's starting his own YouTube channel. So he is indeed a fan, even if his name looks new to you. Actress is T-Berg, sci-fi fan. What? Long live the Dean Martin. Oh, definitely. Mike Richards says, Bird of Prey, it sounds like you are getting the rain Columbus had yesterday. It's quite possible. How are you doing, Momo Prey? They heard you were down there shoveling leaves.
Well, yeah,
Sweeping leaves.
Yeah, away from the drain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Ryan Johnson says, hello on Qapla. Hello on Qapla, not Ryan Johnson. And yes, Momo Prey has made it safely back upstairs and away from the rain. Multi-Gunman says, that cute Sassy is on her throne. Indeed, yes. T-Berg says, just being nice, Hector. It too will crash eventually. Mountains of Elysium says, thanks, Bird of Prey 5. I will be listening in on Shrone more, but just logged in here to give the stream a like. Shh. I will also give the stream a like from Shrone. Well, thank you, Mountains of Elysium. That'll just be our little secret. And he said, have to log out. My wife needs the PC. Well, that happens. What were you saying, Mom?
I did log in.
Oh, yeah. Momo Prey will log in at some point and give a like. Resolute Germs is Bird of Prey. How did you lose a planet, man? Well, the official story is that Keen, the software developer of Space Engineers, decided to release a update for Halloween that changed the background to put a spooky red planet in the background that is just background. You can't actually go to the planet. And in that code to put in that spooky Halloween background, they had a bug or something that caused the planet to be deleted. And it took them 8-12 hours to release a patch to fix this problem as people started reporting their planets were disappearing. And unfortunately, by the time we noticed that Karoga was missing, we didn't have any backups that still had Karoga left in it. Because we have about 2 hours worth of backups, because it saves a copy every 5 minutes. And I think it saves 40 or 50 backups. So, they didn't go back far enough. The planet had probably been missing 8 hours. Nobody noticed. Because, to be frank, not too many Karogans are on Karoga these days. So it took a while for anybody to notice. By then it was too late. And, if this was early in the game, I would have pasted in a new planet and we could have started over again, more or less. But being there's now only 4 days left, we're trying to end this round on October 31st. It just doesn't pay. We're all, me, Azine, and Carlo are the 3 Kurogans in the game right now, and we all had no problem living out of space. We'd all, I think, transitioned to space-based bases and whatnot in our ships. So we're all good. We can deal with the loss of Kuroga, although I still think it might have been an inside job of Turkestan. Multi-Gunman says, we have a saying in Kuroga, when you mess with Kuroga, you get the alpaca. That sounds pretty good, Multi-Gunman. I'm not 100% sure what it really means, but I like it. T-Berg says, the great alpaca, spiritual leader of the Bajorans, inspirational mentor to us freedom fighters. Oh, is that what you are? Freedom fighters. John Araki says, thanks for playing the clip, Bird. Back to work. Just call me the anti-trekker. Oh, that's good. Mr. Lundell's Groovy Movie says, I do love that scene. I still think that Dax was really getting into kissing another woman. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Absolutely. Mike Richard says, Yowza. Shroudmore says, hail Kuroga. Welcome back, Shroudmore. Multi-Gunman says, do you watch The Walking Dead? I used to, and then when I stopped watching, I'll tell you the episode I stopped watching was the episode where, what's his name? Ah, man. How did I forget his name? The Asian guy. Huh?
Nothing.
The Asian guy, where he went under the dumpster at the end of one episode, and it was very, very clear there was no possible way he could have made it out of under the dumpster. He was completely surrounded by zombies. But then the next episode, he miraculously made it out from under the dumpster, only for him to die in another episode or two or whatever, the beginning of the next season. That was the end. That was the end of me watching the series. The beginning of the end was earlier in that season. There was just so much absurd stuff going on when they found that little town and they couldn't hold the town. And how are all these other powers around with all this power? It didn't make any sense. I mean, let's face it, this show's been on life support for me ever since the governor. And that was it. I had it when they fake killed. Oh, what's his name? I should probably just look ahead in the chat. It's not Jason. It's Greg. Anyway, when they fake killed him, I was done. Also, I didn't want him to die at all, but if he had to die, then just let him die. Sci-Fi Nation says Multi-Gunman was talking about Shronemore's other channel. Live with Matthews, Multi-Gunman, I feel like The Walking Dead. Well, at least you're walking. Multi-Gunman is lolling with Life with Matthew. Sci-Fi says, ugh, words are hard. Damned Kurogan schooling. Epic Beard says, hola nerds, hola epic. Live with Matthew says, hey to Epic Beard, how's it going? Epic is good. Hashtag alpaca life. Sci-Fi Nation with a $2 super chat. Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation is watching and following chat. Welcome, Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation. Qapla. And I hope you are enjoying the chat this morning. Hector says, don't worry, Bird. We can already cleaned all the structures surrounding Kurogan Safe Zone. And T-Berg even got rid of that Tupac ship you had inside it. Space must be cleansed. Yes, I heard about the unfortunate demise of the Tupac, the SOB Tupac, my first large grade ship in the game. I gotta tell you, the SOB Tupac was a great ship. It had a lot of. It was basically a jack of all trades. The only problem with the Tupac was it did not have a jump drive, and man, I flew the Tupac from Kuroga to Kurdistan one day without a jump drive, just at full speed, and had to avoid a couple of asteroids. Excuse me, when they're in space, they're asteroids. I had to avoid a couple of asteroids, but other than that, I just kind of did something for like 40 minutes, 45 minutes it took to make it to Kurdistan. And then I was able to let Carlo fly it back to Kuroga. Life with Matthew puts in a link. Lost the Planet Bird of Prey has. Let's see. Is there any way for me to follow this link? I do not have a way. Is that by chance the video? Hello. I did it again. I closed the tab, and I'm sorry. And unfortunately, I lost all the comments that were before whatever I read. And now, let me see. Okay. Let me go to my YouTube channel. I might be able to get the comments back. I'd probably be able to get the comments back. There we go. There we go. Live chat. Okay. Good. Yes, I've got the comments back. Yowzer. Sci-Fi Nation. Super chat. Again, thank you, Sci-Fi Nation. Okay, so now Light with Matthew put in a link. And Obi-Wan, Kenobi, Yoda, and younglings lost the planet. Star Wars clips. Okay. Well, it's not. It's a nice clip, but it's not particular to Kuroga. Actor says the uranium inside the reactors in the defenses was polluting. Oh man, there was a ton of uranium. There was a ton of uranium in those reactors. Sci-Fi Nation says hello. Hello, Sci-Fi Nation. Actor says hi. Mike Richards says Herman Schmeckelback. No, I don't know. Herman Schmeckelback is not in the house. Actor says that was not the aging guy. That was the Asian guy, as Bird would put it. Who said aging guy? Actor says the aging guy had his head torn off by the governor. Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation, I'm pretty easily amused. Well, then I hope that means that you are amused and not that you're usually pretty easily amused, but this is not amusing you. Sci-Fi Nation with another $2 super chat says, I feel cheated. No kissing Dax. Many sad faces. You didn't see kissing Dax? You didn't see kissing Dax a minute ago? Let's see. We played it. We played it. Let's see. I still have the link. I think I do. Yes. Okay, Sci-Fi Nation. Prepare to be uncheated. Share screen. Chrome tab. Rejoined. Share. There we go. There you go. Uncheated. Uncheated. Nobody will be cheated on this stream. Epic Beard lost the planet, has bird of prey. How embarrassing. Joseph Patrick, early stream, heresy or blasphemy. Hashtag no makeup. It's a makeup stream, Joseph. I do plan on streaming later this evening. Again, with probably a Space Engineers Sunday Fun Day stream. I just figured I'd come on quick this morning and say hello to everybody. It's already afternoon. Yeah, well, we'll be ending soon. No, I'm just saying. Miss Sci-Fi Nation is easily amused. Very cool. That's the best way of being amused. Sci-Fi Nation is bird of prey. No, ran to store for a minute and had no animations on Super Chat. Well, yeah, right now with the software I'm using, there is unfortunately no Super Chat animations when they come in, but I can manually play it for you guys. For literary commentary, academic purposes, we're reviewing this. What it has to do with 2019 politics and personal agendas and all. Whatever the reason, we have legitimate reason to show it. Well, we'll keep talking about it. Not Ryan Johnson says Kurogan home planet was destroyed during the war between the Tribbles and the alpacas. We're back here. Let's see. We've got to catch up. There we go. The Kurogan home planet was destroyed during the war between the Tribbles and the alpacas. Well, I hope the alpacans won because the Tribbles are bad news. Not Ryan Johnson says Tribbles detest Klingons and Frank Sinatra music. No, that is heresy, not Ryan Johnson. He might detest Klingons. Everybody loves Frank Sinatra music, including Tribbles and Klingons. In fact, Frank Sinatra music is the only thing that can make Klingons and Tribbles get along. Actor says uncivilized creatures. Yes, those alpacas are uncivilized. Not Ryan Johnson says exactly. Mike Richards says doubles yowzer. Double yowzer. Sci-Fi Nation yells space lesbians. No, come on. We're doing academic criticism, Sci-Fi Nation. They are space. What's the term? Polyamorous. Space polyamorous people. Joseph says it's not morning. It's 6:24 p.m. and it's dark. Totally, we have switched to winter time today. Otherwise would be 7:24. Yeah, we're like a week out of switching our clocks. That's going to be, let's see, so we go back an hour. That means instead of waking up at 4 a.m. today, I would have woken up at 3 a.m. But hey, we get an extra hour to sleep, I guess. I would vote for the first presidential candidate who campaigns on ending daylight saving time. Even if it's Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, or if AOC runs in 8 years when she's able to run, whichever presidential candidate says, I will end daylight saving time once and for all, they get my vote. They get my vote. Because I don't think any of them are going to change healthcare. I don't think any of them are going to make any major changes. Nobody's going to give us a flat tax. Nobody's going to give us whatever that we think or that we want. But I think the president could, with enough power behind them, they probably could get rid of daylight saving time. I think that's an attainable goal. Okay, fixing Medicare, saving Social Security, balancing the budget, ending our unending wars. Never going to happen. Okay, those are beyond anyone's ability. But ending daylight saving time, I believe that is possible. So, first one to make that solemn promise, they have my vote. Joseph says academic study. Yes, sure, they are space lesbians. Multigun says bird. The correct term is space carpet munchers. Oh boy. Sci-Fi Nation, I want in on some of that polymer Americanism. Joseph says, why do you get up at 4 a.m.? Even when I'm working, I refuse to leave the bed before 8. It's just what time I wake up, Joseph. There's something I can do about it. Bird rant, says Sci-Fi Nation, son of a bitch. Oh, but it's not really a rant about about daylight saving time. I just hate it. I want it to end. And also, guys, I just want to point out that I was on DJ Odyssey's channel yesterday, although I wasn't streaming. Hopefully, most of you guys are subscribed to DJ Odyssey. Now, this is actually a video he put out today, but if you want to see the video I was on, I called in, if you will. In fact, me, Sister O'Prey, my aunt, and my uncle, and Mom O'Prey, we all spoke for a little bit on DJ's show yesterday. Somewhere in the middle of his show. He had like a 2-hour stream yesterday, if I remember correctly. We were somewhere in the middle. I didn't realize he was streaming because family was here, but then he texted me because he, in fact, the name of his stream yesterday was He Was the Real Bird of Prey. And he was the real bird of prey because once you'll see if you go to his channel and watch. But suffice to say, he has a new costume. He's not only the pink bunny or the banana. He now has, in fact, 2 new costumes. One being the dinosaur in the link I just sent you, and the other being what you can guess, but it is indeed some type of bird of prey. You can go and take a look when you're ready. And he was claiming he was the real bird of prey. Now, unfortunately, I didn't see the email because I was busy with family. So after like 45 minutes or an hour that I didn't notice, I guess he just decided to text me. And once I saw the title, I had to come on. And since my aunt and uncle and sister and Mom O'Prey were all here, they all said some things too. And officially, Richie Poole and DJ Odyssey are the first 2 members of the Sister O'Prey fan club. So she was surprisingly happy to hear that she's got a fan club. So that was interesting. Epic Beard says, curse Ben Franklin for daylight saving time. Was it Ben Franklin? I thought we kind of implemented it during World War One. Mr. Lundell's Groovy Movie says they'll never get rid of daylight saving time. It's stupid, and the politicians love stupid things to foist upon constituents. Excuse me. Yes, this is the EU is proposing the end of changing the time. Now we must decide if we want to stick to summer or GMT time. I don't care which time we pick. In fact, I say split the difference. Okay, I mean, granted, that would be the hardest because almost nothing is programmed to allow you to go 30 minutes difference, even though there are time zones that, you see, not every time zone is an hour difference. There are 30-minute and 15-minute off time zones in the world. So anything modern should technically allow you to do any amount of time difference at any time of the year. But going to a half hour, splitting the difference, that seems the most logical answer to me, but that would be the hardest to implement technology-wise. So if you just want to say, well, for all the technology reasons, it's much easier to just choose to go, where GMT either plus 4 hours when daylight saving is in effect, or plus 5 hours when it's not. Whichever one we pick is absolutely fine with me. And there is the link I put into DJ Odyssey's latest video. Actor says, the good thing is that you're now an hour closer to me. Well, that's good. Multi-Gunman says, damn you, Ben Franklin. Quit trying to save daylight. Sci-Fi Nation Bird of Prey need to call this stream change. Oh, Kango Prey 5. Yes. Joseph says, and yes to you yesterday, not streaming. I felt abandoned. I apologize, Joseph. It really hurt me a little not to stream. Actor says, rabbit eating banana, eagle eats rabbit, T-Rex eats eagle. What's next for DJ? Asteroid? He just has a big rock as his costume. Donnie Pearson says, hello, Bird of Prey 5 and all. Qapla, Donnie Pearson. Mr. Lundell says, we saw the T-Rex costume in the backyard of the mobile home. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Donnie says, well, it is morning here in the Mountain Pacific, Alaska, and Hawaii time zones. 1 week more till the end of North American daylight saving time. Indeed. And you correctly said saving time and not savings time, that many of us, even myself, incorrectly say from time to time. Though I do know technically there is no S at the end of saving. It's just saving, not savings. Epic Beard says George Vernon Hudson implemented daylight saving time, but had been suggested 100 years prior. Well, 100 years prior, it made sense somewhat. Although even then, it still didn't make sense. The farmers can get up at whatever time they want to pick the crops or whatever and have dinner. They don't have to have dinner at a set time. Dinner can change by an hour, and breakfast can change by an hour. Doesn't have to mean that the person going in to their job in Wall Street, well, maybe there was no Wall Street back then, but the person going to their office job doesn't have to change the clock if they don't want to. Seaberg says, what about that DJ Bunny versus Bird of Prey for the smiles of Mrs. Antitrekker? Well, she was very clear she picked DJ, so I don't think there's anything left to there's no fight to be left. I'm not going to dress as a bunny, so she's picked she's picked. Donnie Pearson says hello to Yosef. Sci-Fi Nation says Bird of Prey, DJ Odyssey, the redneck you wish you were, but he'll never be the true number one Crash O'Prey 5. I don't think I wish I was DJ. I mean, yeah, I wish I could walk, but not Ryan Johnson says Sister O'Prey greater than Frank Sinatra. Well, I care about Sister O'Prey more than Frank Sinatra, but Frank Sinatra is still the better singer than Sister O'Prey, and I'm sure she would easily admit that. T-Berg says the world is zoning out. Zoning out. Actor says that's playing dirty, not Ryan Johnson. And not Ryan Johnson says exactly. Sci-Fi Nation Bird of Prey, it's -5 GMT for Eastern. Karoga's math is hard. Didn't I say that? What did I say? Joseph says, I prefer summertime for our geography. It's more suitable. Joseph says, Donnie, are you conducting an orchestra in your picture? Donnie says, it looks like he's conducting an orchestra. He says, that was me conducting the Central Washington University Symphony Orchestra. That was from the time I studied conducting. That was back in either 2009 or 2010. So, Donnie, you can be honest with us. The study of conducting, you just kind of move the stick to the beat of the music, right? I mean, there's no science behind it. Am I right? I mean, is there any such thing as a bad conductor? Sci-Fi Nations' DST came about for the railroads because of the money, America. I know time zones. Time zones came about because of the railroad. Before the railroad, every town had its own time. Time was just, there was no set time. The time in Chicago was just completely different than the time in, Tuscaloosa. It was just whatever time they decided to make local midnight was local midnight, and everybody in that town set their watches off of the, clock tower at the church steeple or whatever they used as their official time. And clearly, when the railroads started coming in, there was no way to translate between Chicago time and Gary, Indiana time and Pittsburgh time. So the railroads, the government, hey, we need to unify this time, make universal time. And so they came up with the concept of time zones because obviously 9 a.m. in New York and 9 a.m. in California need to be at different parts of the day. So they did this whole time zone thing. They separated us into 4 time zones, and that was it. That was history. And then time zones started getting adopted all around the world. I don't believe, though, that actual daylight saving had to do with the railroad. I mean, it could be, but I've read a lot about this topic, and I just never heard that. Mr. Lundell says DST never makes sense. You wake up and go to bed anytime you want. Just leave it at that. Yeah, especially if you're like a farmer. Why? I mean, what I heard was they did it because during World Wars, people going into work at factories, if they had to go into work and it was nighttime, they were wasting more energy lighting their way into work and turning lights on in their houses. So they were wasting energy during a time of war. And that was the reason why we implemented daylight saving as an energy saving measure across the country. However, since everybody's schedules and times and habits have changed, what I've heard is that recent studies show there is little to no saving of time since changing clocks anymore, since a lot of people can pretty much start work when they want. They work from home these days. And what it's increasing is medical bills, because there's an increase in heart attacks and other problems when people lose that hour of sleep. And, obviously one medical bill for one person can exceed millions of dollars, like it did for me, for one unfortunate incident. So it's just, there's no financial benefit anymore. Because even if you had just, in a country of 300 plus million, if you had just 50 people that occurred, heavy medical bills due to something happening, which is still exceptionally rare, but you talking hundreds of millions of dollars potentially from a few dozen people in medical bills, it completely wipes out any possibility of saving money on fuel. And these days lights are LEDs and compact fluorescents, so we're talking a fraction of the power we used to spend anyway on lights. Donnie Pearson says the university in Ellensburg, go Wildcats. Joseph says my dogs ignore the time changes. They want their dinner at the exact same time. Yeah, dogs don't care. Richie Poole says hello, Bird. Hello, sister of fan club member number 2. Joseph Patrick says Donnie Pearson conducting is so hard. What piece of music? Donnie says I completed conducting class, but ended up teaching myself conducting since I did not have enough experience. I have been formally taught as a pianist and cellist and cellist. There's no C, it just says cellist. Okay, cellist, says Mama Pray. Oh. And still do play those instruments. That's so cool, Donnie. I could never play an instrument. Live with Matthew says I was born outside daylight saving time, and it always seems to fit my natural sleep cycle better. I was born outside daylight saving times, and it always seems to fit my natural sleep cycle better. So you prefer daylight saving? Okay. Well, maybe we should make an island for everybody who likes daylight saving time and drop everybody on the island. I'm kidding. Sci-Fi Nation says, Bird of Prey, you said plus. Oh, I said plus 5. Sorry about that. Yes, minus 5. T-Berg says installation is a bad conductor. That is true. Donnie says, I was conducting an excerpt of Beethoven Symphony. Very cool. Richie Poole says, I hear copper is a really good conductor. That is true. That's true. Yosef says, Bird of Prey, ask Mom for a slap on the head for the comment on conducting an orchestra. It's harder than juggling chainsaws on fire. To me, Yosef, it looks as easy as sign language. You just move your hands in a bunch of places, and hey, I'm speaking sign language. That's not.
Hope everybody knows you're being
Is that not how it works? Mama Pray is saying that she's giving an I'm being facetious warning. Yes, obviously, conducting is a skill beyond I would ever comprehend. Okay, I can't even get my head around playing a single instrument, let alone conducting an entire orchestra. Donnie Pearson says, oh, Richie, I was talking about the music ensemble conductorship. Sci-Fi Nation says, Bird of Prey, so ancient civilizations told better time than European settlers in America. What's better or worse? I don't know. I mean, Yeah, they probably had a better calendar, especially when they realized they were losing days and weeks, and it took every few hundred years for a pope or a king to just decide to fix the calendar, or a Roman emperor. Donnie Pearson says, I thought conducting music ensemble is easy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, you're the one who would know. I honestly assumed it was difficult. The Epic Beard says resistance is less than conducting. Okay. Donnie says not all music ensemble conductors are formally trained. Some have been self-taught. Very cool. Lightwood Matthew says, I tried to tell a helium joke, but it had no reaction. That's funny because helium is a noble gas. It doesn't react with anything because all of its electrons are properly paired up. Its two electrons are paired up. There's no room for any extra electrons in helium, so they don't react with anything. As none of the noble gases on the extreme right side of the periodic table are all the noble gases. Richie Poole says, we don't have DST in Arizona. The rest of the country is weird. Actually, Richie Poole, you do have DST in Arizona, although technically it's on tribal land. See, the Navajo Nation, which rests within Arizona, does in fact use daylight saving time, although the state of Arizona does not. But there is DST within Arizona. Also, if you go to the Hoover Dam there is a clock on each side of the dam. Now, one side of the Hoover Dam is in Nevada, and the other side's in Arizona. So half the year, the clocks are the same because Arizona and Nevada would be in the same time zone. But then half the year, the clocks are different because when DST comes around, Arizona switches time. Well, it doesn't switch. Nevada technically switches time. So then they become an hour off. Livewood Matthews is Richie Poole. I thought you did inside the Indian. Yep, exactly. They do inside the Navajo Nation. Donnie says, my future home state. You too? Side by Nation, have fun in Maricopa County. Donnie says, my dad is completing his transition to the Sierra Vista, Arizona, after 21 years in the greater Seattle area. Comment 1 of 2. Let's see, where's the second one? I guess it's further down. Richie Poole says, Sister O'Prey is awesome. Joseph says, Donnie, we started a nice trolling here. I played the piano also for about 10 years, but I was never really good. Alexander Brooks says, hello. Welcome, Alexander Brooks. Richie Poole says, life with Matthew. I suppose that may be true for the Navajo Nation in northeast Arizona. They cross state borders. I don't know. Like Matthew says, sorry, I did say that muddled. I meant to say non-daylight saving time for me fits me better. Gotcha. Makes more sense. Sci-Fi Nations has said hello, Alexander Brooks. Donnie, okay, part 2. My mom and I will leave the greater Seattle area in or before December by air to live in the greater Phoenix area before joining my dad in Sierra Vista. Well, that's pretty cool, Donnie. I always liked Arizona. I first went there as a kid with my parents. We had family out there. Then I did not get back out there until my junior year of college. I got out there for a fraternity national meeting. And I got to, we were staying in Scottsdale, and me and another member, we tried to drive up to the Grand Canyon from Phoenix, which That's just too long of a ride. We're trying to make it to the Grand Canyon and then back to Phoenix that same night. That was just way too long of a ride, way too ambitious. At best, you're looking at 6 hours each way. Now, granted, when you're in college, you're young enough that, hey, that an 18-hour day, 6 hours there, 6 hours on the way, 6 hours there, 6 hours back. And then you can probably still be up for another 6 hours to party. That's very doable at that age, but it was crazy. And instead, we ended up in Sedona, which although I don't ever recall hearing of before, turned out to be really, really cool. And then years later, when Mom O'Prey and I were going through old papers and stuff that we had, and I had the postcards that I bought while in Arizona as a kid, I realized that one of the postcards I bought in Arizona was indeed a Sedona postcard. So I did know about Sedona as a child, though I'd forgotten it as a young adult. Well, there are vortexes in Sedona. That's a whole other story about the nature of Sedona. But for this purpose of this story, Sedona just has beautiful, beautiful views, mountains and buttes, and a beautiful red rock color. And it's also got trees. It's got water. It's got the Verde River runs right through Sedona. It's really nice. Great place to visit. I can't speak more highly of Sedona. Now, Sedona has a very new age spiritual feel in people. To be honest, I couldn't care less. I could care less. No, I couldn't care less. I could not care less about them being there. I mean, they don't bother me, but they don't do anything for me. I'm going there for the views, not the new age mysticism. Abig Beards' bird is offending all deaf persons now. Moving hands comment. Mr. Lundell says, I like Bird. I don't see the skill in conducting an orchestra. Not to say there isn't, I just don't see it. Yeah, but there has to be. There has to be. Joseph's Bird thinks that flipping the middle finger is sign language. That's a form of sign language. Donnie says, speaking of music, my mock-up cover of the late Jerry Goldsmith's The Generals MacArthur and Patton is now streaming on SoundCloud. It's a Google search away. Oh, very cool, Donnie. Donnie, if you want to put in the URL, a moderator should be able to approve it if you want. Joseph's bird knows chemistry, his chemistry. Well, some of it I do, yes. Sorry, I should have clicked on it. Richie Poole says, so helium is like the perfect marriage, perfectly paired up. Pretty close. Sci-Fi Nation says, Bird of Prey, does Mama Prey have a story today? Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation would like one because I take care of her like Mama Prey does you. Sci-Fi, I will ask Mama Prey as soon as she comes back in. She just went outside, took Sassy outside for a little bit since the rain broke. But she'll be back in a few minutes. I will ask her. Joseph says helium is rather like a forever alone meme. Yeah, it's like my best friend is myself more than being perfectly paired up, right? Hydrogen. See, hydrogen is perfectly paired with itself because two hydrogen atoms form H2. And then that makes the bonds, that fills out each bond. And oxygen atoms, though they can form O2, which is pretty stable, And then, of course, you got the molecular three-way, which, of course, is water, where you have 2 hydrogens and an oxygen. So that's if you're getting, Then you go into full-on orgies of molecules with longer, and you start throwing some carbon in, things get really, really, really funny. Mamo Pray, do you have a story today? They're asking.
Oh, maybe later on your stream. I don't have one now. I was thinking of something and I lost.
Let me think of something. Richie Pools says, welcome to beautiful Arizona, Donnie. Yes, Arizona is indeed. Now, the one thing I didn't like about Arizona when I was a kid, and the reason why I didn't want to go back until I was an adult, was I came really, really close to a black widow spider. And I had no idea as a kid what a black widow spider was. And my cousin, who started telling me about what a black widow does, that was probably not the best way to explain what the hell a black widow spider was to a kid. But we were in my cousin. Now, my cousin was older. He was basically more like an uncle than a cousin. My father's cousin, yeah. So I was like, I don't know, 6, 8 years old, I guess. And he had a pool. So I was taking a raft out of his shed, and I was headed to the pool with it. And they all looked at me, and they're like, hey, stop, get away. And I was like, what happened? Like, look at the spider. Apparently, there was this really big black widow on the raft of the pool. Now, don't get me wrong, I did not like bugs as a kid, but I also always said, it's a bug, just a bug. Don't worry about it. And that's what they tell people in New York. Obviously, in Phoenix, the bugs bite back. And
bite back?
They do. The bugs bite.
Yeah, they bite, but you bite them from...
Well, I mean, you flick them off, and a beetle's not going to do anything to you. A bee could sting you, but I never heard of being bitten by a spider and having to go to the hospital before. I mean, I only heard of Spider-Man. I didn't hear, that. So they explained to me, it's a black widow. It's because it can kill. Of course, that's what they tell you. And give you a really nasty bite. You'd be in a lot of pain. You have to go to the hospital. And I'm freaking out as a kid. Meanwhile, they're taking a spider and putting it in a jar because he was going to send one of his kids to school with it, saying, oh, yeah, the teacher will want to see that. And I'm thinking, just imagine today you brought a spider into school, like a black widow. It's probably like a crime, probably bringing like a biological weapon into a school. Anyway, that freaked me the hell out about Arizona, and I did not want to stay there anymore because I was just afraid that there were black widows behind anything, and I had not even learned about the scorpions yet. So that soured me on Arizona for a while. Richie Pool says the Grand Canyon is not a day trip. Indeed, it's not, Richie Pool. When I finally did get to the Grand Canyon, we spent, I believe, 3 days there, and we probably could have spent even more time. It is not a day trip. Even if you could somehow make it in a day, you wouldn't want to. It's not doing it justice. You
do have a short
You have a short story? Good.
Yes.
Good. Then Sci-Fi Nation will be very happy, as will Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation, because as Sci-Fi Nation says, he takes care of Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation like you take care of me.
Oh, okay. Well, then this is a story, though. When I was taking care of you as a little bird.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, it starts there, but it ends in Arizona. There's a family friend It's actually Uncle Opre's friend. And when we were in Arizona, well, that's the end of the story. See, I'm getting old. I got to go. Anyway, Uncle Opre's friend was his friend for many years, still is. But
Business partner.
yes, right, that was it. They were business partners, and they had business in New York and in Arizona. Uncle Opre stayed here, and friend moved to Arizona. But prior to moving, we were at my mother-in-law and father-in-law's house eating dinner, and Bird was still in a high chair. I think he was about a year and a half old, and he was eating a chicken leg, I believe.
You gave me a chicken leg at a year and a half old.
Yes. Well, anyway, he started to choke. Now, there were 10 people at that table, but friend Opre was next to him before anybody could react, even me. Friend Opre had him out of that high chair, upside down, pushing on his chest, and the big piece of chicken came right out. I was forever grateful, and I still am. But anyway, so we say friend Opre saved his life. Now move ahead another 7 years, 7.5 years. We're in Arizona. Bird Opre is like 8 years old. And
But I was a mature age.
oh, you were. Wait, let me.
Yeah.
And one of the businesses that Uncle Opre and friend Opre had was a florist. I don't remember exactly why Bird Opre decided he wanted to go to the florist with friend Opre. And I guess I went shopping or something. And Bird Opre is at the florist learning how to arrange flowers and do whatever you do in a florist. And they were alone, just the two of them in the florist. I don't know exactly how. I guess it was a glass vase.
He was getting a glass vase out of a freezer or a refrigerator because it was a florist with a lot of live plants. So they keep the live plants in a refrigerator to keep them, keep them
Well,
healthy
the live
looking.
flowers, not plants.
Yeah, plant. Okay, flowers. Excuse me,
Yeah.
flowers. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So they were cut flowers, but they're kept in the refrigerator to keep them healthy looking. So he was taking the vase out of a refrigerator, and of course the vases are made of the cheapest glass possible. And as sometimes happens with glass when it changes temperature, it explodes. And it exploded in his hand. And this was not safety glass that we have today. This was, cheap glass that just exploded into sharp shrapnel, one of them cutting an artery in his hand. And he comes running out, and there is blood gushing out of his hand like a Quentin Tarantino movie, like 2-3 feet out of his hand into the air, bleeding all over the place. And he can't calm down. He is going crazy at the sight of his blood. I call, I guess I call you guys first. And then I call 911, I guess.
yeah, you didn't get me. Whoever you got, I was out shopping.
Okay, I probably called Dad Opre.
Yeah.
Or Uncle Opre.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, there's the phone." So I go to the phone. I dial the number. I call them. I say, "Okay," and so I call 911. Ambulance comes. In the meantime, they say, "Well, get something I put, I found, I don't know, a towel or something,
Yeah.
and we wrapped that. In the meantime, Dad O'Prey and Uncle O'Prey made it to the store before the ambulance. They weren't too far, and then they took him away in the ambulance, and he turned out to be fine, but he did cut an artery, so he didn't, they did have to get that bleeding under control. The other thing I had to do for him, though, while he was waiting for them to come, or in the hospital to come, was to light a cigarette for him, because he had to smoke. So he had the cigarette in his mouth, and I'm like, he's showing me how to use the lighter, and I'm like, he's like, just put it in front of my mouth. And I'm putting the lighter, and he lights the cigarette. He takes a few puffs because he only has one working hand, and he's actually trying to hold the pressure on the first hand with his other hand, so he doesn't have either hand available. But he just, so I put the cigarette in his mouth and then lit it, and he took a few puffs, and he was so happy. I don't know if it's technically saved his life, but I was there to help him when after he was there to help me. So
I'm glad that I could tell that story. No, you could tell it better than me because I was not there.
Well, I remember what happened while I was there, and then you heard about it. Obviously.
Right.
You weren't a direct witness.
No, I'd never make it in court.
Right. And then, using what I learned from my time at the florist.
Yes.
We had the next year in school, right? We had to do like a show and tell, but not a show and tell.
Right. Something that you could do.
Something you do. Like you had to teach the class something.
Right.
We all had to teach the class something. So I, being quite manly, taught them the art of flower arrangements.
Yes, you did. That was in fourth grade.
That was a little later. Yes, that was fourth grade.
No, that was fourth grade that you did that.
Right.
But
that was a couple of years after.
Right.
Arizona.
Yeah. But
then I was so good at teaching the fourth grade class flower arrangement. The second grade teacher decided have me and only me come into her class. It happened to be my sister's class, Sister O'Prey's class, and teach them the art of floral arrangements. So yes, if I ever had to fall back on a job, I can arrange flowers, I guess. Or I could tell somebody how to arrange flowers at this point. It's in my blood.
I thought it was in Mike's blood.
Well, it was in his blood. But he got some of that on me, so now it's in mine.
Gotcha.
And that, to this day, I do not like glass. I don't trust glass. I hate glass. I mean, Pyrex and the really treated glass I can deal with. Cheap glass, I hate it. I hate it. In fact, we went to a wedding. Sister O'Prey and I went to a wedding. That was her college roommate's wedding. And they decided to have these what they put in the tape, centerpieces that were these fish bowls with a floating candle in them. So it looked nice, but I knew that was cheap Chinese glass. Okay, these were not particularly fancy fish bowls. I could tell it was cheap glass. And the entire night I was looking, I was like, I was keeping my. I have glasses, so I was happy about that because I knew at some point the fish bowl was going to shatter, and well, it did. Not just my table, like 3 tables, the fish bowl shattered, and all the water came pouring out. Now the people were nice enough to not tell the the bride and groom that any of this happened, because they didn't want them to feel bad or anything at their wedding. But it's you cannot trust glass. Glass will get you. So if you do have glass, don't ever expose it to lots of heat or lots of cold. That's just how it is. Sci-Fi Nation says, Joseph, the only thing I think of with helium is talking really high-pitched and the Hindenburg. Oh, the humanity. Well, I assume somebody's already said this, but the Hindenburg had hydrogen, not helium. Helium is not flammable, but it weighs twice as much as hydrogen. So hydrogen is far, far more dangerous, but also, I believe, more efficient at making things float, because it's literally half the weight of a helium atom, where hydrogen atom is 1 proton and 1 electron, and a helium atom is 2 protons. The electrons don't really add to the mass. They're orders and orders of magnitude less weight than a proton, but then a proton. So it's really the 1 proton for a hydrogen atom, 2 protons for a helium atom, but they are both far less than the nitrogen and oxygen that make up the atmosphere. So they both do help you float. Mama Pray is back.
Yes, I'm back because now that my tale is done, I didn't want to bypass the comment by Sci-Fi Nation saying that he cares for Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation. Do I have the right people?
Yes.
Anyone that cares for another person and takes care of them, my hat goes off to you. My hat goes off to both of you, because it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy being taken care of. And I feel it's harder on Bird than it is on me. I tell both my kids, if I get to a point that I need taken care of, we need to reassess this whole situation. But I am so happy to be able to take care of Bird. I wouldn't have it any other way, except for him walking. If he could get up and walk, that would be great. But I'll always be here for him until he throws me out. That's the way I feel. And any person that takes care of a family member, I'm really, I can't even express what I'm trying to say, Joe. I really look up to you, as I look up to all caregivers, whether they're professional or family.
Yes, caregivers are quite honorable people.
Yes. And we've come across a couple that shouldn't be in that profession. But for the most part, they're very honorable, compassionate, some of the best people in the world. That's all I've got to say. That's my spiel for today.
Okay. Thank you, Mama Pray.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Surf Trictronics says no DST here. I always have to remember to add 654 hours instead of adding 543 hours now to figure out mainland time. Oh. Surf, where are you? Alaska? Hawaii? I guess Hawaii. Donnie Pearson says, thank you, Richie. Welcome. welcome. You've been here. Okay, what did Richie say? The Grand Canyon. Oh, welcome to beautiful Arizona. Ozzy NF says, Bird of Prey, how are things? Qapla, Ozzy. Pretty good, pretty good. Richie Poole says, Sedona, so beautiful. Yes, they say God created the Grand Canyon, but he lives in Sedona. Sci-Fi Nation says, holy crap, he said butte instead of butt. Yes, I know how to say butte. I mean, I used to say butte in Space Engineers. Birdo Prey 5 butte. Joseph says the Hindenburg was filled with hydrogen. Helium does not explode. Absolutely correct. Sci-Fi Nation says, shh, party pooper, you're from Kurdistan, aren't you? That's okay. It's okay to not confuse hydrogen with helium. Donnie Pearson says, thank you, Bird of Prey. Here goes. You're about to conduct. Joseph says, Sci-Fi Nation, I think helium was either not discovered or implemented. It's just harder to get, I believe. Hydrogen, you can make hydrogen from water, right? Okay, if you just run electricity through water, you create hydrogen and oxygen. It is very, very easy to create hydrogen. It is much harder to make helium because it doesn't react with anything. Richie Poole says, Bird of Prey, thanks for getting the expression right. I couldn't care less is correct. So many people get that wrong. Yes, and it does piss me off when people say things like, I could care less. Like, well, if you could care less, then it means you cared some. That's exactly what you're saying. Like, oh, it's just an expression. No, the expression is I couldn't care less. I could care less was never the expression. Joseph Patrick says, Sci-Fi Nation, yeah, I must be fun at parties. Typical party pooper. Me too, Joseph. I can't let things like that go. Sci-Fi Joseph, pretty sure it was discovered well before the 1930s. Joseph says, now you've made me Google it. Donnie Pearson says, 2 weeks more till Remembrance Sunday in the United Kingdom. That's what we would call Veterans Day, or right around that time. The American equivalent. Sci-Fi Nation says, Joseph Patrick, at least you all got real Watka, bud. We got Watka. Sci-Fi Nation, Bird of Prey, hello, Mama Prey. Hope your day is going well. Thank you for making sure Bird is feeling well enough to entertain us almost daily. Yes, thank you. A big thanks to Mama Prey. Thomas Preston says 24 watching with 19 likes and 0 dislikes. Thank you, Thomas Preston, for the update. And guys, do please remember to hit like, share, because there's not going to be an ending credits for this. So I was thinking of some new ways you could accidentally share the channel, accidentally in quotes. Now, I talked about the all company email. I've talked about printing out and putting it on your community bulletin boards. I was starting to think, since we're talking about helium, if you go and you get you go to like your local party store or wherever they blow up helium balloons, and you ask them to blow up 50 or 100 helium balloons, and they'll give them to you in like a bunch. They'll all be tied together. Anyway, if on each balloon you tape like an index card with the website address youtube.com/birdoprey5, and then you cut the ropes of the balloons so that they all go flying off into the air in all different directions, presumably some of them will land somewhere where somebody will pick them up, and they'll see that address and they'll be compelled to visit it. Because did God himself send me this balloon? It must be. The balloon wasn't here when I went to sleep, but it's here today now. It must have come from the sky. It must be a sign from God. So they will be compelled to go and and check me out. And in fact, you could write subscribe. Subscribe and click the bell with a link to the channel. That would be a big help. And, you do that, a few times a week for a few months. And I think we'll get some real progress here. Now, if you can all company email a 500-person company, that's fine too. But the balloons from the sky, that works as well. Daniel's Hot Topics is Bird of Prey. Hello, Bird of Prey 5. What's up? Qapla, Daniel's Hot Topics. Not much. We're just doing a makeup stream for yesterday. Coming towards the end. Joseph Petrick says, Sci-Fi Nation, plenty of good alcohol. Okay, helium was discovered in 1868, but discovering it and having it were two different things. It was rare and expensive, so for now, thanks Google. Yes. Richie Poole says, I love the Little Bird of Prey 5 stories. Epic Beard says, I prefer Michigan, though we do have black widows, and they say we have rattlesnakes too. 44 years have never seen neither. They claim that black widows are in all 50 states. Now, I don't want to say, I don't think I've seen one in New York, but I've seen a multitude of other spiders in New York State. But I've not seen a black widow, and I don't want to see a black widow. I have seen a surprising number of snakes. When we were growing up in Canarsie, we had a corner property that had a pretty big lawn on the side of the house. And I don't know, over the years, there were 5 or 6 snakes I would find in that grass. And then even since moving to Bayside, having a relatively small backyard, but it's along the train tracks, 2 snakes. 2 snakes in the backyard, one alive, one dead. But clearly snakes. So there are a surprising number of snakes, even within the bounds of New York City. I can only imagine what's lurking in Central Park. Neither of them were rattlesnakes, of course. But and of course, up in the Adirondacks, where it gets so cold in the winter, you have 6-8 feet of snow on the ground, and it gets to, minus 20 degrees. How does a snake even survive? A cold-blooded snake. Where is it that it survives the winter? I have no idea. But even up in the Adirondacks, we occasionally would find snakes. And being we're only up there for 1, 2, 3 days at a time, if we see a snake, and we've only been up there, 4 times all year, 4 days out of the year, we see a snake one a day. That's a pretty big record, if you extrapolate out. That's like I would have seen a snake, 30 days if I had stayed up there an entire year. Yeah, well, so there used to be a lot of snakes when we first started going up, or I guess when she and Dad O'Prey first started going up. I have no idea where these snakes were staying.
I didn't ask.
Sci-Fi Nathan to Joseph Petrick, no worries, bud. Daniel's Hot Topics, remember back in 1997, I was 10, and I was at Zeller's store with my mom, and she had something in her bag. So I was curious and looked in the bag, and I found a copy of Batman and Robin, my first Batman movie. Very cool. Richie Poole says child abuse. I don't think it's child abuse. Joseph says, Sci-Fi Nation, I love the fact that even on a stream like this, I get an impulse to learn something. Yes, learning never ends. Epic Beard says, bird choking on chicken story, avoiding comments.
Oh.
Sci-Fi Nation, gotta love New York City. It's vase, not vase. Whatever. Sci-Fi Nation, Bird of Prey. My dad cut his leg with a chainsaw when I was a kid, duct taped it, finished cutting wood, and then went for stitches. Crazy bastard. Damn, yes, indeed. But I'm glad. I assume he came out of it okay. So it's nothing, something to smile about now. Miss Londell's groovy movie says, sounds like you returned the favor. I think I did. Uh, I hope I did. Sci-Fi Nations is Joseph Patrick. Same here. Joseph says, Bird of Prey, First Blood. Epic Beard says, a classmate got his leg cut by a chainsaw in junior high school. Have always been worry of them since. Why are people getting their legs cut with chainsaws? How is this a thing? Richie Poole says, the graphic story took a very funny turn. Nice delivery, Bird of Prey 5. I think Mama Prey did a lot of that. Sci-Fi Nation says, thank you, Mama Prey. Joseph says, the Epic Beard, I have a chainsaw. I've never used it. I am simply afraid of that thing. I bought a chainsaw once. I brought it up to the Adirondacks. I did not get a chance to use it. I put it under the couch. Next time I came up, it was gone. The house was broken into, and they'd stolen the chainsaw. Epic Beard, I won't use them.
It was the guy with one leg.
The one-legged guy stole the chainsaw. It must be.
He had 2 legs.
B. Cluette says cheap glass halls. Indeed. Miss Lundell's a Bird of Prey. Some of the most delicate crystals ain't cheap. Well, crystal isn't glass. Sci-Fi Nation says a surgeon Starfleet captain's dad once said, you can't be afraid of the wind. Mine says, WTF is wrong with you? Pick that saw up and get busy, lol. Joseph says, Sci-Fi Nation, you know your enterprise. And Joseph says, Joe, just get out of the bed.
Yeah, I wish.
Resolute says, Bird would never throw you out, Mama Prey. You're the only one he's scared of. Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation says, Bird of Prey, thank you so much, Mama Prey. Heart, heart, hug. Aw. She says the same. Joseph says, thanks to Mama Prey. Epic says, Mama Prey 5, my wife is a caregiver and says thanks. Very cool. Richie Poole, she says she's welcome. Richie Poole says, Bird. Bird would have got up years ago, but Mama Prey's food tastes just too damn good.
I'll still cook for you, Joe.
Oh, she says she'll still cook for me. Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation says, I have a terminal illness, which makes everything hard on both of us. I'm very sorry to hear that.
They'll be in my prayers.
Will be in, yes, both of our prayers. Epic Beard says, no, it was not the Bird of Prey 5 Butte. It was Epic Butte. Fake news. No, it was Bird of Prey Butte. Dirty bastard. Shrelmore says, I took care of my father after my mother died. There were days we wanted to kill each other, but this didn't mean we didn't still love each other. He died 7 months after my mom, and 10 years. I still miss them. Aw. Yeah, you never stop missing them, some people. Actor says, Bird of Prey, rest, keep your strength for your space engineer stream. You may need it. Yes. Got to end this soon. Joseph says, I like the chat popping up. At least we can see some of the faces. Yeah, I kind of like it.
Yeah, so do I.
Mama Prey likes it too. Richie Bulls is 0 dislikes. Come on, guys. Let's get that number up. Just kidding. Shrelmore says, Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation, my prayers and my wife's are with you and your husband. Indeed. Resolute says, hour and a half quick live stream. Well, if I ended it now, it would be in the bottom 25% of my live stream lengths. Sci-Fi Nation says, Shronmore, many thanks, bud. Josh Street says, Bird, you was running yesterday getting ready for the New York Marathon, and that was why you didn't stream. You got me.
Oh,
You got me.
I wish.
Actor says, I have seen some Black Widows in my house too, unfortunately. Not of the Avengers variety. Richie says, don't snakes hibernate? Well, it's one thing to hibernate. It's another to survive negative 20 degrees below zero. And that's, that's really, really below freezing.
But bears hibernate.
Yeah, but bears do in dens. I don't think it gets. I think their dens are a little, kept a little warm. Shronmore, Mrs. Sci-Fi Nation, put some hearts and hugs out to Shronmore. Joseph says, in my garden, I discovered every year new kinds of spiders. My wife screams. I look at it, pet it, and have to get rid of it. Otherwise, they will get trampled by her. And I'm not surprised. Although outside, see, if I see a spider outside, I'm okay with it. Outside's where they're supposed to be. It's when I see these in the house, that's where I get upset, because it's like the treaty with the bugs and the arachnids and the animals, except for Sassy. You guys are supposed to live outside, not inside. You come inside, and I don't feel bad about what happens to you. Sci-Fi Nation and Bird of Prey, great team as always, Budge. Much love to Mama Prey. Live long and alpaca, everyone. Thank you so much, Sci-Fi Nation. Live long and alpaca. And Sci-Fi says, Bird of Prey, we're both looking forward to your stream later. Very cool. Miss Lindell says, snakes hibernate in dens in very large numbers. Oof. Well, hopefully I don't ever come across one. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? Joseph says, honestly, so much love in this stream. Indeed. So thank you guys. We're going to end it there. I got to do some things, and then I don't know, probably about 5 p.m. or so, I will try to stream this evening. Hopefully some people are around for some Space Engineers battles. We'll go from there. Subject to change, of course, but that's my estimate right now. Take care, Qapla, and please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Bye. Farewell from Columbus, Ohio, Mike Richards. Qapla.